This week on AV Week, we're continuing our coverage of InfoComm 2022 live from Las Vegas.
The network for the AV industry.
What are you listening to?
This
is AV.
This
is AVNation.
This is AVNation.
This is AV Week, episode 565, live from InfoComm Part 2.
Support for AVNation is brought to you by
Extron, industry-leading technology backed by world-class support.
Welcome back to episode number 3 of this week-long special covering InfoComm 2022. I'm not Tim Albright, I am still Bradford Ben, and you are all watching another coverage of the week. This is our wrap-up as AV Week. This is episode number 3. I want to go straight to the people because I'm looking forward to this. Typically, I make up some weird introduction about you, but Ifat Chowdhury, can you please introduce yourself? And I hope I got it right because I practiced again.
You absolutely did. Thank you, Bradford. I'm Ifat Chowdhury. I work for Involve Visual Collaboration over in England, in the UK, and I also have my podcast, so very passionate about diversity in our industry. And
how come I'm old white dude, that's why I haven't been invited.
You will be, you're in the line.
Dave and I are both, Erica, do I need to get, so this is Erica Williams from Henderson Engineering.
Engineers.
Henderson Engineers. Why don't you go ahead so I don't mess anything else up.
All right, hi, my name is Erica Williams. I am an audio-video consultant at Henderson Engineers. This is actually only my second week as an audio-video consultant, so it's been an interesting experience this week and looking forward to talking.
And a little more on that. This is your second week in this new role.
Yes. I've been at Henderson for 6.5 years doing internal AV support for our company, but now I am on the design engineering side.
And I would say the man at the end needs no introduction, and he doesn't. This is Dave Labuskis, president of Avixa, the owner of InfoComm, the presenter of InfoComm. Why don't you go ahead and, if you want to share a little with the people about yourself, or I can make stuff up.
Why don't you go ahead and make stuff up, Bradford? That's what you do.
I am in the media.
Listen, I'm here. I think actually everybody that attended this week is the owner of InfoComm. I am the least responsible for being called the owner of InfoComm. Unless it all goes bad, then you can blame it on me.
The joys of management. So I'm going to start with the same question I've been asking everyone. What has been your holy cow moment, to pretend I'm Tim, of the moment of surprise? Now, I'm not going to ask anyone what their favorite product is, who their favorite child are, crunchy versus smooth peanut butter, but the actual, we're back together, we're in Vegas. What was your holy cow moment? I'll start with you, if that.
I think for me, definitely the connection. I've over the last 2 years, made so many connections with AV professionals based in the US and everywhere, and just getting together and actually having that in-person dialogue that, yes, you can have over Zoom or whatever else, but it's just not the same, being able to actually see somebody. And I think a lot of holy cow moments saying, oh my God, you're tall, or you're short, or you're, we're all the same size on video calls, so that's really been probably the best, the human connection.
Okay, which is a good thing. Erica, same question to you.
I have pretty much the same answer. It was like Ifat said, over the last 2 years, there's just been a really strong virtual growth of all the relationships in the AV industry. And one of my big holy cow moments was getting to meet this lovely woman for the first time in person the other day. We've gotten to know each other really well, and there's just so many people that are here, and getting to actually see them and hug them and go have drinks with them together in real life and not over Zoom has been really, really amazing.
Mr. Labuskis, besides seeing me and getting this interview.
Holy cow, Bradford still wears a tie? It was, so I was on the trade show floor on Sunday, and many of you may have experienced that, or maybe you haven't. It's hard to imagine what a trade show floor looks like on Sunday when the ribbon's being cut on Wednesday. When I walked onto the trade show floor, it was, holy cow, this is happening. Holy cow, look at the tonnage of equipment that the exhibitors are investing in this event. And then the other one, which is a repetitive, and had it actually just minutes before I walked through the store, is it's great to have that experience being together with people, but for me, it's a deep emotional satisfaction of seeing you have it, and knowing what my team went through to create a place and a time where you could have that. Is the holy cow, this really matters. Like this really matters. People found jobs this week, new jobs, new opportunities. People saved jobs. There's 1,000 people working in the convention centers that are thankful that we're here. And so yeah, all of it is holy cow. And most importantly, the tie.
Thank you. Today I'm a rebel.
All right.
So, and I do want to echo something Dave said. We're the visible part and sometimes the spokespeople. There's probably 10, 15 people behind the camera that makes AVNation work, and there's probably 50, 60 people I've never met that make AVIXA and the trade show itself work and facilitate all this. So the fact that we're all able to pull this together and get the connection, I think, speaks a lot. And we don't want to forget the people that aren't seen that make this happen, because as all of us in AV typically know, you don't know about them until there's a problem. And I don't know most of them because there hasn't been a problem. So based on after that, I have to ask, and this time, Erica, I'm going to start with you.
Okay.
You've had a chance to walk around the show floor. Mm-hmm. You've gotten to see stuff. Mm-hmm. I'm not asking for brands, I'm asking for trends or changes. Have you seen differences from the before times of what's being shown and what you're experiencing and just an overall progression in the industry?
Yeah, I think one of the big differences that I've seen this week is the representation of traditional IT companies on the floor. There's been a lot of talk about the convergence of AV and IT, and does AV belong under IT? And to see, especially the manufacturers moving into that UC space and them starting to play together is going to be really huge moving forward. So that's been really cool. And I've seen, for me anyway, I've seen a lot of flexible uses of screens and signage. There's there are some companies that have, the light up floors that are touch activated, and so there's so many possibilities. It's not just on the wall now; it's on the floor, and it's not projectors; it's just screens that live there. So that's been pretty interesting and new application of that technology that I've seen.
I'm going to change up the path. Dave?
What she said.
Okay, I'm good with it. I have learned Erica is always right.
Yeah. No, I guess the only piece I would build onto that is sort of, my emphasis would be, you said it, but I would re-emphasize it, is the sort of celebration of partnerships of solution providers and the integration of different pieces being brought together and being offered as a application or solution that you can obtain. The celebration of our industry partners or this industry partner program, that I've anticipated that coming, and I think it was accelerated by the pandemic, and it was on full display here. And I think we're going to see that more of that.
I think what they said, but also a couple of things that stood out for me was the importance of in-person education and the number of classes that people were getting to, and also the introduction of the AVIXA Exchange. I thought that was really good. It was a good space. It was a good space for a range of conversations to take place, and another platform and something that actually will carry on beyond this show, which I think is so powerful and really needed, and it's perfect time. So that will, I hope, that platform will mimic the show floor and will take it, and so that we all continue that. So we don't have that long gap that you do one show and then it's a year before you do another one. For some people, this may be the only show they get to attend. So that I'm really excited about. That I think was absolutely long overdue.
Man, you don't even need me up here.
Like I said,
I hope we deliver on all of that. Yeah. That's the idea.
And I'm excited for it.
Great.
And that's my whole point, is making connections. I just want to stand here and look good. You guys should be talking. So this is always a loaded question. And as we move to Orlando for next year, every venue has something, everything has something. I could give you a free glass of water and you would tell me it's the wrong temperature. Some people are never going to be happy. But what would you tell people, whether it be pack better shoes, make sure you make time to go see more demo rooms? What type of thing would you recommend for new people coming to InfoComm to join this?
For me, I packed the right shoes because I had Barbara guiding me all the way. So if you're not following AV Shoe Queen on Twitter, then you're a lost cause already. That's an opportunity.
Just know that she has a lot of explaining to do to Dave for the freight drayage for her shoe collection. So
I have no blisters as a result, so you know what? It's a win-win.
Erica?
Definitely map out and plan. If I remember correctly, I think in Orlando everything's all together, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so, well, I guess if we're looking at Vegas in 2 years or whatnot, just making sure you're planning. And for me, it was super helpful to actually go through the exhibitor list and break it up, because, we're here for 3 days and you also get classes, so kind of breaking it up and not scheduling hard schedule times if you can avoid it, but just having a list and breaking it up into chunks. That way you can tackle one section by day and you're not super tied down, but you can map it out and feel confident that you know where you need to be when you need to be there.
Dave?
I don't get to say what they said.
No, you can say that one. I'll actually send you a copy. But, what words of wisdom besides give yourself a flexible schedule and comfortable shoes?
Yeah, plan. We won't be in contiguous halls the next time we're here in Vegas. That's the halls are being renovated, so that's why these things are getting moved around a little bit over the next couple editions. It was a surprise, actually. There was only one day where I actually had to make sort of meeting one in northwest. You were typically able to pretty look them together. I would plan your trip, but plan for unplanned, right? So the one piece I would say is not only sort of group the exhibitors and try to get yourself into most efficient use, make sure you leave a block in your schedule for discovery and use that block to walk to the exhibitors that you've never heard of before, or that are in an area in the hall that you hadn't ever really spent much time in. And then maybe that's just my bias, but I love the discovery part of a trade show, that you can plan all the rest of it, but bumping into something you had no idea you would see, that's kind of fun.
So, speaking of schedule, I have a schedule to keep, and Victoria, as my wrangler, has asked people how to get in touch with them. So, Dave, I will start with you. What is the best way for our loyal viewers to get in touch with you if they want to contact you, or should they go to Avixa directly?
You can use the old thing called an email. It's dlabuscus@avixa.org. I'm on Twitter at David Labuscus. You can call Avixa and you'll get me.
I can attest to that. I have literally shown up and had lunch with Dave with very little notice. So he is definitely reach out. He wants to know. Erica?
Hi, yeah, you can find me on Twitter at haircutfw, not FTW, just FW, or on LinkedIn under Erica Williams.
Ifat?
I'm on Twitter at IFC or LinkedIn Ifat Chowdhury.
You're not going to explain the podcast?
Yes, my podcast Twitter handle is at WhatIfAV, and it's really just I'm having conversations about diversity, inclusion, and equity in our industry. So yeah, definitely follow. Thank you.
My pleasure. So thank you all for joining us for this episode. I want to thank you. Come back. We'll have another episode coming up, and it will once again be riveting. Thank you all for watching, and I look forward to seeing you again in the next episode. Should we tell them that the TVs are now two-way? That was one of the new technologies at InfoComm, or we shouldn't tell them that?
I think you should be honest.
Okay, the TVs are now two-way. Welcome back to a very special AVNation After School special. I'm Bradford Ben, your host from InfoComm 2022. This is segment number 4, wrapping up the InfoComm 2022 show. I am joined by some illustrious friends, and I have threatened to make up their titles for them and their names. However, I've decided instead to let them introduce themselves. Of course, sorry, Brittany, but you have drawn the short straw of being the closest one to me.
Did I draw it or did I pick it?
That's up.
You know, I picked it.
Okay, so
Welcome.
so Brittany DeCessory.
Yes.
From Control Concepts, who many of us know through Steve, but she is her own person.
I am, yeah.
And now that you're here and you have a chance to speak unfettered by that guy, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to the people at home and go from there.
Yeah, thank you. So I'm Brittany DeCessory with Control Concepts. So I manage our manufacturer relationships, and Control Concepts, we are software developers. So our whole mission is to help provide solutions to the manufacturers across the Control platforms.
And speaking of Control, and probably one of the platforms, we have Emily Eicher from QSC, now QSys because of the rebranding. Once again, rather than make stuff up, I'm making up all of Joe's stuff. Why don't you go ahead, introduce yourself to people?
Yeah, so I'm actually transitioning between roles, but I'm an ecosystem product manager. So I'll be overseeing our internal and external plugin development within QSys. I love QSys, I love plugins, so it kind of makes sense.
Have you met Brittany? She does
Yeah.
manufacturer rep.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
oh yeah, we're friends.
Oh, yeah.
And I buy stuff.
Buy stuff.
He buys it.
You can buy from Brittany and Steve, and they will be happy to install it, and QSC will be more than happy to support it there in Southern California for you.
Oh yeah.
So for those of you who don't know already, at the end is Doctor of Divinity, Dr. Josiah Way, currently now with the University of Southern California, as well as the founder and lead of HETMA, the Higher Education Technical Managers Association.
Alliance. I know everyone gets thrown off by the A. They want to go association, but we're an alliance. We are power.
So rather than butcher something else again, can you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Bradford, always good to talk to you. Well, no, actually, it's not.
Not
Always.
yeah.
Sometimes
There's a reason
it is.
he's
Sometimes
at the end.
it is, but this moment is. So I'm Joe Way. I do oversee the design installation support teams for about 500 AV-enabled spaces across the enterprise at USC, and do chair and co-founder of HETMA, the Higher Education Technology Management Alliance. There we go.
I'm sorry. I'm happy I just pronounced everyone's last names correct.
You did.
So the easy question, and yes, you can talk about your products. What has been your holy cow moment for InfoComm? And it could be anything from the best thing you saw on the show floor to the worst taxi cab ride you had to having to sit through this. So Brittany, you drew or selected the short straw.
Selected it, yes.
Okay, I exiled Joe, so he will go last.
Fantastic.
Why don't you go ahead and lead us off?
I've got it. So I have a different perspective,
And that's why you,
which is great. So my last time at InfoComm, I actually worked for AVIXA. So I was responsible for managing a lot of the events that happen. So I was behind the scenes making it all work. I was one of the people you talked about with Dave, right? Now I'm here attending, and it's so amazing to see the community and to see like the fire in people just to get ready. Like they're ready for connection, and I absolutely love it. So I get to be here, and I get to talk to all the people that I knew while at AVIXA and just help them.
that's a good thing.
Yeah.
It's got to be a lot less stressful.
It's a lot less stressful, a lot. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't the one sweating bullets on Tuesday trying to make sure everything was happening. You know, I got to walk in, no wait, totally carefree.
And as I said when talking with Dave, you could give someone a glass of water for free and they would say it is too hot. Some of us like to find anything to complain about, and that's the worst part of being an organizer.
You know, and now I get to attend and I get to...
You
know,
get to be the one
I-
complaining.
But no, like I understand the weight on them, so there's no need to complain. We're all here, we're having a good time.
Yep.
You have to be nice about it.
Yeah.
I'm being paid to be nice to Joe, just so everyone knows. Emily?
My wow moment was I was standing out on the show floor. It was the first day, and it was my first InfoComm actually. So I didn't know what the opening would be like. And next thing I know, there's a marching band coming down the hall. And I was like, what is happening right now? There's a marching band. And then, with that, people started funneling in, and our booth was just a madhouse, like the entire time. For 2 days straight, it was just literally, there was barely any room to move your elbows.
Yeah, you
which
can't even get in there. It's
Yeah.
just like you're squeezing your way through.
Yeah, it was cool though. It was neat to see a lot of people in person for the first time, and even people, from my own company, obviously,
Yes.
meeting them for the first time. So yeah, it was really neat.
And for those of you who haven't experienced this, a large company with multiple offices, you can be working with people for 7 to 10 years and never meet them in person.
Yep.
And the first reaction is, oh my, you're taller than I thought.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Or shorter in my case.
I don't judge. Dave?
Oh.
Sorry, Joe? I've been
You know what?
talking...
I'll take Dave. No,
No.
absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Would you like to be Tim?
You know what? I'll be Tim for a day.
Okay.
Wait, don't follow me on the Twitters. Go to AVNation.tv and for a whole host of things or something like that. There you go. So my wow moment is actually really, really simple because it actually changed me. So as part of HETMA, what we've done is have a scholarship program where we're giving away 10 scholarships, partnering with AVWeek that gives women and underrepresented demographics a full elite membership, mentorship from one of our members, as well as they get the CTS prep test, they get the class, and they get a trip to InfoComm. Like, that's huge. We announced that at InfoComm in October. We now have just released all of the recipients and who got the first cohort, we should call it, here. And when I'm taking all the time. I got 12 minutes. Here we go. There we go. So anyway, we're doing that. We announced the people at an AVWeek Women's event in California not too long ago. I get Corey Schaefer walks up and she says, "Oh, by the way, don't tell anyone yet. I'm retiring." And my first words out of my mouth was, "I'm going to name one of the scholarships after you." Oh. And then my second words were, I probably should take this to the board and ask if I can do that, but I did. And so back to my wow moment, AVWeek on Tuesday, the person who got the Corey Schaefer PRISM scholarship, HETMA scholarship, was there at AVWeek, and Corey was there, and I introduced them. And we now saw exactly what the organization is about. It's about taking talent who needs to be recognized and invested in and move forward. And just to see that, like I'm actually like getting goosebumps right now. And I think that moment, I know it impacted Natalie Gillespie from Northwestern is the recipient of that one, and seeing Corey there. Was just amazing, and it made us realize why this organization was actually created.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
that's amazing.
There we go.
Yeah.
How about that for a wow moment?
Wow.
I got the goosebumps because I was at AVWeek and saw Corey. I know she was blown away by the fact that we all did that, especially the shirts. But also I was lucky enough to be at the Women's Council breakfast and to see the love and reaction from Corey was an oh wow moment. And the other big one was when she got up and talked about the percentages over the past 34 years. So for those of you who aren't aware, Corey Schaefer is retiring after 34 years in the AV industry. But one of the statistics we all talked about, or she talked about while saying goodbye, for lack of a phrase, was when she joined the industry, 6% of the industry was female. When she's leaving the industry, according to surveys, and we can all talk about statistics being read different ways, is 14%. And she challenged us to get that up to 50%. And just like Joe, there are other programs trying to get girls involved in STEM. I still have the challenge of try to spend my money by donating enough to cross $30,000 by the end of this month. So this is something I'm very proud to be able to do, and Corey definitely moved me to do some of these things. But enough about me.
Well, you know, one of the coolest things that I've seen from like the past years to now, programming's back.
Yeah.
Software's back. Like a couple years ago, it was all, you know, no programming required, right? I haven't seen that at all this year. Have you? No.
Well, I think it's interesting because I did that. I've been asked all week, like, so what are you hoping to get out of the show? What do you want to, like, do you want to see product, like, okay, well, you're going to show me a product you can't deliver for 40 weeks, you know? But what I wanted to see is I wanted to see what is our identity as an industry. We, you know, disappeared for 2 years, right? Now, are we trying to just become what we were and go, here, let's just keep buying a bunch of little boxes? Or have we actually changed and adapted? That's what I was looking for. And I'll be honest, at ISE, I wasn't really sure, right? Here, I think we're changing half and half. There's some, here's our product and all that. But there was a move to, we have to rethink about this. I'd like to see even more services and support things. I'd love to see how we can be able to, like you're saying, add control, add programming to make things, because I believe that the future of our industry is hyper automation, right? And you can't do that without the programming. We can be smarter than our customers, right? And we're going to get there. AI is going to be there, right? I wish I saw it more, but there was little. There was a little.
Did you get
there
to
was
go
little.
to the QSIS booth and
Of
do our
course,
little demo?
I brought the higher ed tour through your QSIS booth. Yes.
Did you do our little interactive little thing?
I did not.
Oh, you were missing
You missed
it.
I'm leaving. I'm going down here now.
We're talking about all these things, so basically we had an interactive thing. You could go through it, and it was kind of like a ride. It was like a theme park.
It was
almost,
fantastic,
but it was
yeah.
fun.
We have a new guest on here. See,
The
I'm going to be
world's
replaced.
worst Canadian.
We got Flat Matt. Okay.
By the way, speaking of Corey, I just wanted to say, go back to that. I'm actually part of Corey's team, and Corey helped me get hired at QSC, and she's been an amazing mentor. So we love Corey. You're the best.
I think that to me is, I'm sad for the people that we haven't gotten to see, and there wasn't a dry eye in the house. We miss you, John Green. But everything that's changed, and all the people who have left or have joined, which is also great. But yeah, Corey I have been working with Corey and known Corey since the mid-1990s. And we both literally looked at each other, and sitting across from us was one of the Women Council cohorts who got a subscription. And literally, she went, I wasn't even alive then. And we're kind of like, well, this is what we're here to do. So, So I have to ask then, since you were on her team, do you have any great Corey stories that we all want to know? Because, like I said, this is a conversation. It's not about me.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, my time with Corey has been shorter than I think I would have liked it, or I think all of us feel the same way. Obviously, I think she'll still be around. That's what
As I say, this isn't awake. She's not dying.
No, she's just retiring. She's going on to better things and doing what we all want to do someday. But I would say, I had a really cool moment with Corey during the AVIXA Women's Breakfast yesterday. I had a partner, and she went to the restroom or something, so we were partnering up, and we just had a really cool moment because the speaker kind of had us connecting with a person, and
that was a little intense.
Yeah, it was very intense, and I definitely recommend going to that event. But it was like, what's one goal that you want to have done by tomorrow, to change yourself? And I was like, I want to stop apologizing. As a
that was mine too.
Yeah, I think that was a lot of ours, because I think as women, especially in the AV industry, we feel the need to work really, really hard and then apologize when we know something, and for no reason. No one's asking us to apologize necessarily. I mean, if you're being,
but we still apologize.
Yeah, if you're being rude, then you should probably apologize. But we're apologizing for just being good at what we do a lot of the time. And Corey was really excited when I said that, because I think she knows that that's something that we all need to grow in, and something that I think she probably also had to overcome at one point in her life as well, as we all do.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. No, and I'm like, I don't want to, like, it's like weird, we're talking like this is a wake or
Well,
something.
that's what I'm saying. It's not a wake. This is a tribute to Corey.
We're
not
celebrating her.
Now, there is one thing I want to add, because Corey and I have actually talked about some of this. You two ladies, and you as well, Joe. It ain't done yet. We have to pay this forward and make sure that this continues to happen.
That's exactly kind of the point. Like, if I look back, if someone were to say to me, you know, what's my, you know, the one thing with Corey? Well, one, the reaction, obviously, but it was this. So, you know, I spent most of my career in, you know, live music, live production, sound, and you know, so I was like a QSC customer is, you know, from the amp, from the speaker, like that side of the world. And then I go to move into higher ed, and it's all of a sudden this completely different world of like, I don't even know anyone in, like how am I attending the same shows and don't know these same people, right? And I remember then, right as I was moving, when I went to Cal Baptist and started that, and there was a NAM, and she was like the one person I knew. So I'm going up and I show up at the QSC booth and I'm telling her what I'm doing. I'm like, okay, well, I kind of want to start this little podcast thing. And she basically is like pulling people over, saying, you need to meet this person. You need to meet this person. And just guided that with no other reason. And she's like direct messaging me, doing all this stuff. And I'm like, who does that, right? And like going, and only because of that, could I even be successful now inside of the commercial integration side? Because she was the first to go, okay, you're moving verticals. Now let me introduce you to the people who you now need to know, and then let that go. And so just being able to take that connection, and that was literally like, that was 2 months into my transition from one vertical to another. And that just tells you who she is. And it's something I hope that we all can model, right?
Oh, 100%.
And like you were saying, like what was exciting about being here this year, seeing our people. Well, are you introducing your people? I brought 10 of my team, and I'm here trying to go like, here's some people, meet them, grow your career.
And I met some of them,
Oh, good.
Yeah, we've got one here with us. It's her first InfoComm, and we've been able to take her around and introduce her. And I actually met someone in the hall. She's actually here with her boyfriend just for the trip, but wants to get into our industry. And so brought her to the breakfast, got her connected. Like, that's what we have to do. We have to be introducing people, helping them make connections, because we have those connections. Let's utilize those.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So to carry on, because let's talk about next year's InfoComm, and next year's InfoComm, and next.
Yeah, all the nexts.
All the nexts. So 2 questions. One, what would you tell another first-time person to pack or bring or experience or schedule? Your one word of suggestion. The other thing is, what are you hoping to see different at the next InfoComm? And the reason I bring this up is the difference isn't going to come from me, isn't going to come from anyone until we all start doing this is what we want to see different. We've seen it with evolution in less, I'm trying to think the politically correct term, but booth babes in the industry, because we all decided it. So what do you want to do and change for next year or the long-term future? And not just at InfoComm. I'm saying the whole world is my target, but just in general.
Well, I think, so next year's Orlando.
Yes.
That's a whole different animal.
Yes.
You know, it's not a dry heat.
It's a humid heat.
It's a humid heat. But my all-time, like, have to have, throat lozenges. It's the only way I've made it to Friday. I mean, I couldn't have done it.
That's a good idea.
Couldn't have done it. And I think what I'd love to see different, the women's breakfast was fantastic. I would love to see more men supporting that. I think it's so important to show that support, to be there and say, we stand with you and we're going to help. I think we have to see that next year.
I agree. My one item that I wish I would have packed more was more clothing. I had enough for like the trade show, but I feel like if I had brought more clothing, I probably would have changed like 3 times or 4 times, because you're going from like this to the next thing to the next thing. I mean, I was doing like a minimum.
You're going to need it because you're going to walk outside and
sweating. Yeah, it's a minimum of like 3 events like a day, you know, at least. So having different clothing for that was a big thing. And then I would say something that I would change is I'd like the manufacturers to feel like they can go to other booths more. Obviously, you can't when you're busy in your booth, but I want people to feel welcome, and I want people to feel like I know at QSYS we feel like we want to partner with people, and we want to bring everybody into the ecosystem. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree with both of those. But it was a little bit of a bummer. Like, I wanted to go to the women's breakfast, but I was doing the keynote for the consultants' breakfast for Rinkins Hines, and there's only 2 breakfasts and they're scheduled on the same day.
But as a
bummer.
consultant, I decided to go to the women's breakfast because the consultants'
My name was
breakfast-
not to go on the stage.
So was mine.
But you would love, I only had one slide. Did you see my one slide, Bradford? One slide, and it was my famous quote, "The only thing consultants are good at is spending my money." That was, how about that? But I worked it better. It was just playing. But, so to your question, for next year, yes, we're in Orlando. I hate to say it, I like the Orlando show better than I like the Vegas show. I think that's the minority of people, but I do.
Well, we're all together in the hall. I think that's nice too.
Yes, it's all the same. And everyone just kind of ends up at the point. It's like easy to jump from one party to another. In Vegas, you got a taxi from here, then you gotta go to your, so we lose a lot of time jumping from place to place. So you have to kind of, in Orlando, you can be a little more spontaneous. Here you have to plan out, okay, I'm gonna go here, then I'm gonna go here, and then you have to set in a lot, make sure you leave so you can get to the next one. So then advice for a new person, who's attending the show, just be open, allow spontaneity, because that's the great part of our industry. And then also make sure you check the schedule and you end up knowing the things that you want to get to and register for those things. So you kind of get a plan ahead, but don't overbook so that you can have the spontaneous moments.
So speaking of schedule, my schedule says I have to, unfortunately, say goodbye for now.
We're having such a great conversation.
I'm with it.
But you said before we recorded and started that you would not end it if it was a good conversation. So you now can't say, this is such a good conversation, I need to end it.
I'm not ending it. The studio manager, Victoria, is ending it.
Under the bus. Oh, wow.
She's the boss.
So, just to be different, I want to give the floor to my arch nemesis, Joe Way. How can people find out more about you, about HETMA, get in touch with you, get and talk with you to plan for next year, and perhaps recommend people for the HETMA Prism scholarships?
Yeah, well, don't follow me on the Twitters. Please go to AVNation.tv for more and a host of content. No, you can find me at Josiah Way on all the socials. Obviously, HETMA is HETMA_org. HETMA.org gives more information on all of our scholarships. And of course, hiredav.com.
Emily, you're next.
You can get in touch with me on LinkedIn, Emily Eichert, EICHER. Or QSYS Communities for Developers. So if you're a developer and you're looking to get in QSYS more, looking to learn how to build plugins, reach out to me on there and we'll get a conversation started.
Brittany?
Yeah, and you can find me on Twitter and LinkedIn at Britt, B-R-I-T-T, Dice, and at controlconcepts.net.
And I am not Bradford Ben. Don't follow Tim on the Twitters. All he does is complain about his Bears, which are currently in first place. Oh, the season hasn't started yet. You can find me here at AVNation at my company, advisus.com, as well as on the Twitters at Bradford Ben. This is the wrap-up for this year's InfoComm. So I want to make sure to thank you all for coming along on this great ride. Thank you all for providing such a great closing to go out with. Stay tuned. We'll always have more to come. We look forward to hearing from you so that we know that we're giving you, as the AV community, what you want to be. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks so much for listening, and we'll see you again next time.